Hello and welcome to the recap of School Spirits. I've been waiting for the show for quite a while now, so I'm kind of sad to report that it didn't live up to the expectations. I mean, I've only seen 3 episodes, but of the 3, episode 1 is as good as it gets. And I'm not just saying that because there's a Phoebe Bridgers song in there. Anyway, more on my thoughts later. Onto the recap. Episode 1 starts with the principal announcing a missing persons case to the students assembled in the gym. The missing person is Madison Nears, who is watching this all play out, and she looks slightly frustrated. A boy named Charlie joins her then, saying that at least they used a good photo for her missing persons poster. Charlie is trying to get through to her that she's dead. Madison seems to know this, but it's as though she hasn't fully accepted that it really is over. Also, her body hasn't been found, so it's not like her friends and her family can try to move on. There's still a mystery there. Maddie tries to get her best friend Nicole to see her, but of course she can't. She's invisible to people around her who are still alive. Charlie then invites her to their support group of dead students who were killed or died at the school and haven't moved on. She starts talking in the group, but all she knows about her death is that they found blood on the walls of the boiler room. They haven't found her body yet. She doesn't know how she died, and the other students in the support group look a little concerned that she doesn't know. And just then, that's when we jump into one of Maddie's memories. She's hanging out with her boyfriend Xavier, who may or may not be checking out the cheerleader Claire, and then she walks off to class with one of her best friends, Simon. He asks about her mom, and Maddie says that she's fine. She's sobering up and she'll be home in 2 weeks, so I'm guessing she's in rehab or just away getting well. During class, Maddie sees Xavier walk to his car and she follows him out. He lies about needing to charge his phone, but she catches him out and sees that he's there to smoke, and she tells him it's time to quit, like he said he would. She doesn't seem cross, just mildly annoyed, so it's not a big deal. Anyway, she goes back in, and as she's walking down the stairs, the cheerleader Claire gives her a nasty look. In the present day, Simon and Xavier get into an altercation. Simon is upset that people aren't really taking Maddie's disappearance seriously. How come Xavier hasn't signed up to help find her? Shouldn't he have been one of the first to volunteer since he was her boyfriend? It gets physical then, and Maddie's phone falls out of Xavier's bag. Maddie sees all of this, but she doesn't think that Xavier did anything wrong. She thinks that he's probably just trying to find her. We do see the day in class when Xavier took her phone out of her bag, but this was when Maddie was still alive, so maybe it is not connected with her disappearance or death. Maddie, determined to leave the school searching for answers, realizes that she's literally stuck at school. Every time she tries to leave, she's brought back to the boiler room where she died. She gets a sliver of a memory then when she sees the evidence markers in the boiler room, and this memory is of her telling somebody to stop, and she looks quite scared. Xavier's dad, who's also a policeman for the sheriff's department, asks Xavier why he had Maddie's phone, and he finally admits that he wanted to protect Maddie from finding out about Claire. Yes, Xavier and Claire had been hooking up, and he says that he accidentally sent a text meant for Claire to Maddie, and he just wanted to delete that text. The evening of one of the search parties, Simon tells his teacher that he knows that something bad happened to Maddie. She's seen things and she knows things that people her age, people in general, shouldn't, but she would never just run away. He says that he doesn't know how he's going to survive this. And at the end of the episode, Simon is standing by the window and Maddie stands next to him. She says thank you to him for advocating for her, and Simon senses it, or he hears it, and he turns to acknowledge her. In episode 2, we pick up at the moment Simon sees Maddie. Shortly after this, Nicole comes and they're off to the search party, but Charlie is shook. This has never happened before, and he tells Maddie that she shouldn't tell the others in the group right now because they might be jealous or treat her like a messenger service. Xavier's dad tells him that he should lay low for now and not go back to school. He's clearly struggling. Maddie goes over to Simon and they try to piece together the day of the murder. She says that she left homeroom to go and look for her mom because her mom had showed up to school that day, but she says that she doesn't remember anything after that. Maddie has another memory of blood dripping on her face as she wakes up from the boiler room. It was obviously someone else's blood since it was dripping onto her. She also sees blood splattered on the wall, and when she goes out into the hall to try and talk to Xavier, he walks away in a rush and Simone follows him. Simon says that they need to find evidence because Xavier missed 8th period, which is around the time that Maddie can't remember. Claire goes over to Xavier's house then, and she wants to be there for him, but it's still strange. He says that he's scared of them finding Maddie's body, and she says that they'll be fine. She also tells him that if he needs to talk to her and nobody else, and not to give in to the demons. Xavier's dad says Maddie's phone came up blank. There was nothing on there, but Xavier says that he couldn't even figure out the password, so he couldn't even delete the text. he couldn't have wiped Maddie's phone. His dad thinks that he's hiding something else, and in frustration, Xavier starts punching at the wall. He does have a bit of a temper. Simon and Maddie go to where she and Xavier sometimes hung out at school, a garage, and she gets another memory of them hooking up in the car there, and at the time a mouse kept squeaking. Anyway, Xavier at the time went out and he killed the mouse by dropping a brick on it while laughing. So yeah, he has a bit of a dark streak. Anyway, Simon then finds a piece of what could be Maddie's old phone in the garage. Simon gives the piece to one of their teachers, Mr. Anderson. Maddie had suggested this, saying that they could use someone on their side. Xavier goes over to Maddie's mother's house and he admits that he lied to Maddie, which was wrong and stupid, and he also hurt her, but just not in the way that everyone thinks. Later, Simon and Maddie find another piece of Maddie's phone, and just when my paranoid brain is starting to look at Simon a little weird because he seems to be finding all the pieces and he seems hell-bent on pinning it on Xavier, Mr. Anderson shows up looking all threatening, and he tells Simon that he should let the police do their work. In episode 3, Mr. Anderson is shuffling Simon to his car, telling him it's awfully late, rushing him out of there. The sheriff's department is also scaling down the search for Maddie. They need the resources, much to the disappointment and frustration of her mom. Maddie has a memory then of Mr. Anderson, of him telling her that if she ever needs to talk, he's there. His father was an alcoholic, and he gets how difficult it is to keep those lives separate, a difficult home life, and still keeping it together at school. Simon, meanwhile, steals Mr. Anderson's keys and snoops around his car, and he sees that Mr. Anderson held on to the broken piece of Maddie's phone. Simon is sure that he's shady, but Maddie says that he's always been there for her. He even helped her when she had a car accident a few months back. It is revealed later in the episode, though, that he helped her cover up that it was her mom drunk driving and not Maddie. Because if it was her mom, she might have lost her mother. One day in class, Nicole gets a notification saying that Maddie has liked her photo on social media. It's a photo that Nicole had posted on the roof of the school. Nicole goes up to the roof and Xavier sees her and he goes up after her. They end up talking, him about his struggles and the rumors, and then they eventually decide to work together to try and find Maddie. Simon confronts Mr. Anderson and asks if he's handed the evidence in, and Mr. Anderson says yes at first, but then he admits that he hasn't because he doesn't trust anybody and he doesn't want anyone looking at Simon. Maddie figures out that she and Simon can only talk in certain rooms, as in they can communicate in all of the rooms that a student had died in. Nicole, Xavier, and Maddie's mom decide to go search the woods and they find Maddie's ticket and her boot print. So something went down in the woods. Maddie and Simon hear Mr. Anderson on the phone panicking, yelling at somebody, and he eventually says he wished he didn't give Maddie the money. Maddie doesn't remember him giving her any money though. Just then, stashed in the wall, they see a lot of money that belongs to Mr. Anderson. And yeah, that was the first 3 episodes of School Spirit. Am I going to carry on with it? Yeah, probably, but it's definitely going to be a background watch if I do eventually get around to it. Anyway, if you have seen it, feel free to share your thoughts, and thank you for watching.